Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tap Into Your Creativity. I am so excited. We have an incredible artist joining us from New Orleans. Her name is Zona Wainwright, and we're going to have her join us in any minute to talk about. Hold on one second. And there she is.
Good, good.
Perfect.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
Zona. Can you hear me okay?
I
Good.
can.
How are
Let me
you? Can you hear me okay?
see if I can
All is
turn
good?
it up just a little. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Welcome, Zona. I'm so excited that you're here today. I am thrilled to finally meet you and for you to be in this program. So thank you for everyone who's joining in and all your friends, my NOLA friends, which I adore and love, and they're all
You,
here supporting you.
you've
So
gotten to know
I
quite a
can't
few
wait
of us.
for our people. Yes, very well. And they adore you and they're here to cheer you on. So let's just take a deep breath and you're gonna be amazing. And I can't wait everyone to get to know you. So Nell is saying hi, Renda saying hi, all your friends are here. So I'm just gonna take the comments off so you don't even have
Okay,
to worry about that.
sure.
And then we'll bring the comments back on at the end for questions. But Zona, why don't you go ahead and tell us where you are now and a little bit of your
Okay.
background.
I am in New Orleans and have been here in this same house for a little over 35 years now. Raised my children here. They were little when we moved in, and I am in the process of moving to Folsom, which is about an hour and 20 minutes from here. My daughter and two grandchildren live there, and it's pretty much country. So I'm a little nervous about the move and excited at the same time because my daughter's there, and one of my daughters and grandchildren. So I'm excited, but it's a big move for me. I've been here so long in the city, but I'm not that far. I've told all my friends I'm going to have sleepovers all the time. I'm coming back. Yes,
I love that. And I'm assume you can drive in pretty
yes,
easily. It's an
yes.
easy
I'm going to
drive for you to
continue
come back
teaching
in.
at the New Orleans Academy of Fine Art. I teach there on 2 days a week, 4 classes, and I definitely did not want to give that up, and I didn't want to make too big of a move. But it's a good time for me right now to have a change, a pace, and try out the country life. And let alone that I have the pleasure of my daughters there with grandchildren, so I'm pretty excited about that. With the pandemic and things going on, I couldn't go there as much, and she couldn't come here as much. And then now the children are getting older, and so there's not as much back and forth. So I'm kind of missing the crew, even though an hour and 20 minutes doesn't sound that far away. It kind of is for me to just see them growing. So anyhow, I'm excited about the move, and she has also begun to paint in the past few years, and so we have that in common right now. So that's going to be a lot
Oh,
of fun to
wow.
to for us to spend more time being creative together because she's a little busier.
Are you gonna have are you
Well,
building a new
I'm
studio
starting
or you're
off
gonna have a
renting a
studio?
house that's on her street. That's what pretty much pushed our move to go forward. Was this house became available on her street, and it has a big barn behind it with a big cement floor, empty, and kind of just with my name on it right now. So
Oh, that makes me so happy for you. That at least makes you probably feel
yes,
a little
yes.
more comfortable with the
It was
move, knowing that
definitely
you'll
a
have a
nudge
place.
of, okay, this is the time, Ma. The house is there, the barn is calling to you. So it's going to be a little bit of fixing up in the barn, but it's a doable situation, and it'll be a lot of space.
That's awesome. So So let's go back and tell us a little bit about where you were born and were you always interested in the arts? Were you curiosity started early in
I'm one of
life? How did
6
that look like?
children, and I was raised about 25 minutes from here, Belle Chase, on the suburbs of New Orleans. And I always dabbled in drawing, painting, crafty things for theater if they needed a backdrop, drawn or that kind of thing, but never really had any lessons as far as, anything set in stone for me to do. But I creatively always gravitated toward creative things, but anyhow, did not do anything uh, regularly as far as the arts went, and was not exposed to that as a kid growing up. We just lived in a middle class neighborhood, and we played baseball in the streets and in the fields next to our house, and hung out with the neighborhood kids, and just rode our bicycles with our dogs and that kind of thing. Just had a very middle class upbringing. Yeah, I
It
mean,
sounds
it
beautiful.
wasn't at the time, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. But I look at things now today, and they're just, I won't even go into it, but there's so many things to worry about that, our summers were carefree and flip-flops, and like I said, playing, and moms were still cooking in the afternoon, and snacks and brownies and Rice Krispie treats, that kind of thing. So it was
Yes, yes. That's why what I say is we leave the noise for this hour
sure.
outside this interview,
Yes,
and we
yes.
just
All the
concentrate on all
good.
the
Yeah,
good and
it
amazing
was
things
all
that you have
good.
to give, right? So, so you graduated
I
from high
did.
school, and then
I went on
what did that look
to
like for you?
college for a year at Louisiana Tech in Ruston. My grandmother, my father's mother, lived in northern Louisiana in a small town outside of Ruston, so I was familiar with that. And a couple of friends of mine that I knew from going there in the summers was also going to Louisiana Tech. So I went for the year, about a year, year and a half, and anyhow, came home, married who I had been seeing, for a long time throughout this, but still I had gone away, even though Randy and I were seeing each other. Anyhow, came home, got married, immediately started a family. So I have 3 children, 2 girls and then a boy. And life pretty much, took a big turn for me there. And I really feel like life started for me when I had the children. It was just a new way of looking at things. Their curiosity from little bitty, it opened up my mind, which wasn't exactly to the arts, but it was a creative, new look on life and seeing things differently, the details and the little things that gave them pleasure, and just, it was very heartwarming for me, and just a new life, a new exposure to looking at the world. And I feel like art, when I talk to my students now, I tell them I want them to come out of class looking at the world differently. I want them to see more greens, see more blues, see life differently. And I feel like having had the children and kind of looking at life through their eyes, I took it for granted things that I saw things differently. And so um, they were the beginning of opening my eyes to new creations and a journey.
Yeah, kind of like stop and
Yeah,
smell the
yeah.
flowers kind of
But they
thing,
still just
right?
appreciated so many
Yeah,
little
yeah. Just
things
take a
that,
minute to,
again, you took for granted, that
yeah.
I find that with art, there's so much that I gravitate toward, that I paint from, that it's things I took for granted before, that I didn't see all the grays, I didn't see all the greens, the blues. Anyhow, yes, definitely.
So then you had your children,
I
and
had my
then
children.
when did this whole thing
I
change for you?
also ended up in business with my husband at the time. It's an oil field related business. It was inspection. and I was in business with him. And so had 3 children, running to the ballpark, also doing work, and then being in our own business was a little bit of more fun to do that, but then also more pressure to do that. So just juggling that. And I did not start painting until my daughters were seniors in high school, that I actually took a class. I had always wanted to take the time and did not take the time for myself to take an actual class, stop. And I don't know if I was too intimidated to do it, but I also was just busy and didn't take the time for myself, which I do not recommend. And it's what I've told my children since then. And my daughter is taking my advice and doing painting much younger now because she has littler children. Don't put yourself off. I just feel females tend to put themselves off, and I did that. But anyhow, I still started when they were seniors in high school and have been in class ever since.
God, I love that.
I'm the student
You're the student of
forever.
life, right? You wear
I'm wearing two
two caps,
caps,
right? You're
right?
like a
I
teacher and
have
a
stayed
student at
in
the same time.
class
Yeah.
throughout. Besides workshops, I'm in a constant class. I started at the Jewish Community Center on St. Charles. It was a watercolor class, and because I was working, with my husband, I said, I want one thing. I want to be able to take a class, so it was just a half a day I had to take off to take my class out of the rest of the work week. And so I did. I started it then, and it was watercolor. And from there, I got brave enough to go into the New Orleans Academy of Fine Arts when an instructor of mine, Karen Statsny, was going to teach there. I was brave enough to go with her and took her abstract class. And after a little while, Nell Tilton took over her class. And anyhow, I've been there ever since, and I'm still there teaching and a student of Nell's.
So Nell has been in this
Yes,
program and I adore her.
yes,
I love what she does and she has a beautiful soul. So you're so lucky that you have her
yes.
nearby and you can learn and just have that kind of energy. She really truly has this beautiful energy that flows
Yes.
and just it's
She's
contagious,
very
I feel
giving of
like.
all her
So
knowledge. Yes.
so yes, I would agree with that. And Zona, do you feel that, at that point when you started, finding the abstraction, the non-objective language of art, was that more attractive to you than doing watercolor per se, or were you doing your watercolors
I
in
was
an
doing
abstract way? Like,
watercolor in
where
an
was the
abstract
shift?
way, but I was still, it was flowers and things like that, and mainly getting used to the medium. And so I went to the New Orleans Academy, but I also took, life drawing, photography, and many, many other courses there, but stayed with Nell also. So I took more than just Nell's class. I've taken many classes and taken them over, especially the photography. Way back, you had a manual camera, and then it's gone to a digital, this, that, and the other, and I still don't know anything because everything's changed along the way. So I didn't develop too much in the photography, but anyhow, I've taken the drawing and I'm forgetting what else, color and design, things like that, everything that the Academy's offering.
So at this point in your life, when you're making that shift and you're it sounds like you almost became like a full-time student in all these different things. Um, how many years it took you to develop your own language, your own
Many,
voice?
many years, because again, I had carved out just a small niche of time with everything we were doing. And so I didn't practice enough. I had a small corner here actually behind me where I painted in the corner at first. And gradually just got where I needed more and more time to do it. But again, it would be in the evening, things like that. And it wasn't until the kids left home, that I did that and gave myself more time. So that's 20 years ago that I started. But again, I didn't start off full time in this. It was just a small little window that I gave myself, and gradually have built up to gift myself workshops and longer periods of time painting, and now take it much more serious. But at the time, I just enjoyed it so much. I was doing it for my own pleasure, until I really, again, became more knowledgeable of more people, and I was just hooked.
Yeah, exactly. But I also think you just touched on a very important message for people that are watching today. It's patience. And, it takes a long time, and
Yes,
it takes a long time to be in the practice of painting. And this is not an immediate thing, it's just like the immediacy of our world today, of we want to have things done today, right
yes,
now, at the fingertips
yes.
of our phones and whatnot. Painting is something that you need patience, and you need
Well,
dedication,
and
and you
it
need
takes
time.
time to develop and experiment to find out what it is you like. Because again, I took all those classes at the academy, and which avenue was I going to follow? It's, took me several years to figure that out. And I tell my students when they come into the beginner class, you're not going to go home with a painting to put over your couch right away. Just know that right off the bat, because people come in
Exactly.
thinking, oh, abstract, this is going to be easier. I don't have to draw. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. This will be, throw around some paint and I'll have a painting. And they soon learn that there is much, much more to it. And many, many have told me, you were right. I still don't have that painting over my couch, and this was a lot harder than I thought. And they've taken realistic painting and compare it to realistic painting and say, this is so many decisions you're making along the way, where if you're painting a still life, you have something there to copy and to go off of, to, paint from. But when you're painting instinctively from your body and your brain and your imagination, or however you start, you're making one decision after another. And so it's much harder uh, to,
Yes, I would agree. So let's just go back for 1 second, because you are now, some years taking classes, and you decide, how do you decide, now I have the goods to now teach and throw myself in that position?
uh,
And what made you have,
right.
or think that you have it,
Well, I
together to
will
make the
be
jump?
truthful here. I did not think of this. I got a phone call. I got a phone call that the instructor that had the intermediate slash beginner class at the academy um, had a new job, and it was a job opportunity she couldn't pass up. So they were partly in the middle of the semester, and or maybe starting the next semester. Anyhow, I got a call from the director of the school, and I was in the car with husband, my daughter, two grandchildren, a car full, the baby crying,
Oh
and
my
he's
God.
asking me if I would consider, taking on this position. And I was like, "Are you sure? Do you know who you're talking to?" Anyhow, I did not, put myself in that spot, in that position, or think of it. But anyhow, he said, well, just think about it. And I said, okay, okay, I'll think about it. If you're sure, I'll think about it. Got off the phone, and I was in the car with everybody, so they knew everything going on. And my daughter and husband were both saying, you've got to call back right now. You've got to do this. You've got to do it. And I'm like, I don't know about that. So I was unsure, but anyhow, with them pushing me in the car, it's lucky I wasn't somewhere else. because I may have put it off and may have called back and said, I'm a little chicken, maybe not. But anyhow, I was pushed and did it, and am very grateful looking back and happy that I did it. But again, it's scary.
So I always say, like, putting
Yes,
yourself out of your comfort zone
it
is the
is. It
best
is.
thing you can do because you will surprise
Yes,
yourself
yes.
again and again.
Um, I'm surprised. I've enjoyed it and gotten so much in return from teaching that by far it's helped my artwork. It's helped me personally. Just
So did they give you a
no,
curriculum
I
and
mean,
then you just started with that
they
curriculum? Are
did
you sure
not give me a
or you had
curriculum,
to
but I
create your
have
own?
been with Nell for so long that, I could set up one because I've been there with her for so long that I could follow suit under her at a different level. And of course, again, I had Nell right there to say, I'll help you with whatever. The whole school would have helped me, anybody in the office. But anyhow, Nell's been a major supporter of me and of many, many, many people. But since we're talking about me right now, she's been major mentor and support. It's
How
a
many years now
it's
that you've been
a little over
teaching?
7 years now, and it's gone, and it's now four
Wow.
classes. I teach the beginner and then three intermediate. So it's four classes, and then also do workshops sometimes on my own there as well. But steadily 3 different semesters, 4 classes, 2 full days. But anyhow, it breaks into 4 classes.
So how do you find the balance between teaching and finding your own time for your own
I
practice?
find that the teaching has helped me to continually to paint more, because for myself, I can find myself busy and just not having that creative energy and not knowing when I have to go in and teach. I mean, it keeps you pulling out paints, it keeps you demoing for people, you're helping people. So in turn, it helps me because I'm not thinking of myself then. Where if I just go into the studio, it's me, and oh, I have a painting here, I really like it, but oh, I'm not sure, let me go do other work. I mean, there's gobs of other things that we all have to do that sometimes is busy work that you want to do to keep yourself from not knowing what to do on your painting. But the energy of the students and their curiosity and their learning and their development, and again, me um, demoing for them and actually actively doing paintings, or just let's go try it on mine. Boom. I'm not thinking about the painting. I'm just doing it for him, for them. So it keeps me and reminds me to continually, I call it a flirt stage, that I want to try to stay in a flirt with the painting, a beginning painting. Some people don't like a white canvas. I love a white canvas. It's to me the beginning, it's the beginning of a relationship. And that's kind of the best part. Like when you meet someone, you're in a flirt and it's fun, and you're never going to be able to go back to that again, that stage of a relationship. You eventually evolve and develop, good or bad, it evolves. But that flirt stage at the beginning, when there's unknown, curiosity, it's a flirt. So I want to stay in a flirt with my painting as long as I can and not commit. I tell them. Some of the time I'll tell them, you're committing way too early. They get attached to certain spots, and so they're committing too soon. And my
I love that. It's like I feel like it's instinct
yeah,
versus
yeah,
intellectual, you know? It's like that instinct that
yes,
if you like that person,
yes,
right? If you feel that, you're not
right,
really clearly
right,
thinking, you're like just
right.
intuitively just,
Well, and it's a little more
feeling it
playful.
versus thinking too much about it. It's
Yes,
more your
yes.
heart than
And
your
later
mind.
on, you'll have to make and bring the thinker in and make decisions. But right now, you don't have to do that. Just give yourself the freedom to explore, experiment, And so enjoy that process. And so again, I consider it kind of a flirt. It feels that good to me, that white canvas, and anything's possible at that point. And for a long time, as long as you can keep that going.
Yeah.
But of course, sometimes you get attached to things and then you start making decisions, and then you do have to
Yeah.
think a little bit, and you wish you could go
Yeah.
back to that flirt, but you're way too far into this relationship now. You can't go back.
Well, that's why I think that's why the trial and
Yes,
error is so important. And for you to start all over again is also so important. And to like use the white
yes,
paint and
yes.
just cover things up and not even think
Right,
about it and just going for it. It's like, it's that, again, it's that freedom of painting, that
right.
you're not painting something to sell or to put on the wall. You're painting because you're experimenting and you're loving what you're doing. So Zona, right now I am so excited because you're going to show us a piece
Okay,
that we're donating for Feeding America that you made
okay.
for us, and that I would love for you to talk about it. It's a 15 by 22. It's on paper. Look at this beauty, you guys. This is unbelievable. We're asking $350 for this painting. Remember that 100% of the proceeds go to Feeding America, so you will be helping 3,400 meals by purchasing, oh, no, I'm sorry, 3,500 meals by purchasing this incredible painting by Zona. So if you feel inclined to purchase this piece and help us, please DM me or Zona and we'll let you know what you have to do. But this is incredible, Zona. Can you zoom it in a little bit so we can, or bring it in a little bit more so we can see the detail on it? And can you tell us a
Yes,
little bit
I
about this
can.
painting?
Am I zooming in enough there?
Yes, yes, it's gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Wow. And tell us about the
Okay.
materials and the
So it
piece
is
first.
watercolor
So we know.
paper, and it's cold press. And actually, this is an older painting that I had started, and I just couldn't get back to where it was to continue it. I've had it hanging around a long time, and I wanted to paint into it freely again. And yet, just to figure out where to start, I couldn't figure. I didn't want to be caught up with what was here, again, attached pieces, color palette, any of that. So I actually took tape and placed it randomly, not thinking, just randomly all over it. And then took new color palette and began to paint over the tape randomly, again, without thought, and not placing anything in any particular way, shape, form, nothing. And then pulled the tape off, and it was a whole new painting then. And I could then freely go into it and was re-energized to work on it, because before I was just too stifled, too stuck, too attached, and just said, I got to do something here. I have to make a move, and it has to be a big move.
So what kind of
I
paint
use
what kind of
acrylic.
paint did you use?
Mostly I use golden heavy body paint. I use some Nova and
Okay.
some golden fluid, but this is pretty much, I think, heavy body golden.
Yeah, I love that you
Sure.
mask. Can you show it again so we can see now that we know that you taped some stuff? And I mean, it's just it has such energy. It's like start in the middle, like if it was like your stomach in the middle and then
Mhm.
it just like opens up. I I love that. It has also the all your mark makings and your horizontal lines and vertical lines, and it's lovely. Thank you so much. So hopefully someone will feel inclined to buy it and help Feeding America. But so Zona, show us where all the
Okay,
paintings that I see behind you.
so let's hope I don't drop the phone here getting this off.
I trust you won't.
Okay,
You're gonna do great.
so,
And if you want to flip the
okay, let
camera
me see.
around so
Where do
we
I
see
do
what you
that?
see.
Okay, got it.
The, So you see
Okay,
the two little, yeah, perfect.
so now,
Okay,
okay, I think I need to back up.
great. Yes.
Oh, let me see. Okay,
Wow. How
this is
big
a
are those paintings?
36 by 36. It's on
Is it on
gallery wrap
wood
canvas.
or can?
So it's
Mm,
36 by 36.
wow.
I started this with some bright colored washes, and it was from a blind contour drawing that I had done, a small one, that a lot of times I do blind contour and then blow them up on the canvas, just use them to direct me on the canvas and go from there. And
So you use a
I do,
sketchbook
or just a
and
piece
then
of paper,
you
whatever it
transfer
is I
that
happen
into.
to have on hand that I save. Some of them, some are in sketchbooks, some are on just type paper out the copy machine, some are on a napkin. I've got them all over. I need to gather them and keep them together better than I do, but I randomly do them. So it's kind of just whatever sparks my attention, I draw. But anyway, sure.
Can you go closer so we can see more of the color
Yes,
and marks?
this again has an
Wow.
underlying wash in there that did actually
Oh,
stay.
yes.
And then I draw from the beginning, midway, and toward the end, but I draw throughout again. And I have opaque paint and washes. I like transparent and I like opaque. I like the differences there, the contrasts. I like contrasts, um,
Oof.
of different
Look at that.
kind.
Wow.
So, and then I'll just
And I love your use of line and contour is really striking on all your work, but you
thank
can
you.
really see it up
And
close.
some of this is just scraped into thicker paint at times, and some of it's drawn.
Yeah, I see that. So do you use
I
graphite and
use,
charcoal and all that to
I do,
activate the
I may
painting
use a
or
woody, I may use a soft pastel, I may use several things before I really get underway painting. But I might start it off with three different drawing tools, and it
okay.
might even be ink. Some of this may be a little bit of ink in here, I'm not sure. Um, right here. The crink,
Wow.
the crinks with
Cool.
the little metal ball. I mean, I can draw with
Yes.
that. I draw with many, many things. In and out, in and out.
So is it a quick in and out or is it a
I
thoughtful in and
try,
out?
like I said, to not think as much. I may have my contour drawing that I start with, but then after that, that is put away, and I try to just stay the painting in myself and react to the painting. I mean, even if I had a plan, my plan never would stay. Even with an assignment, I usually end up taking a left turn, but I try to, work intuitively with the painting and react to what's there. So I might think it's going to turn one way, but once it gets on the canvas and it's next to another color, I have a different reaction. Ooh, I want more of that. Ooh, I want less of that. Oh, I like you now, but
Right.
now, orange, you've got to
Right.
go. I wanted you before, but now you're too much. You got to go. So I don't know.
So from what I'm hearing, you don't even know like your color palette. Do you
I do
write it
not.
out before you
I
start?
do not
Really,
have a
you're just
plan. I'm
reacting?
pretty
Okay.
much
Okay.
very unplanned again and just try to work very not try, that's pretty much what I do. Instinctively is work intuitively.
Yeah.
I get a little stiff at the end, a little bit worried if I get too attached. And again, I try not to get attached for as long as I can, but of course I do end up getting attached. And so then it gets a little
Yes.
harder to
Yes.
go in loosely. But I try to stay loose and creative and expressive and experimental as long as I can.
I
Okay.
love that. Let's keep going.
So then I have another one here. Let me see. I may have to back up again. let's see if you can see. This one here is
Yes. Wow.
a little bit more energized, a little bit less finished. And I did that on purpose. It's a little bit messier. During the pandemic, we didn't, all of us weren't wearing makeup, and, we were in tennis shoes, sweatpants, leggings the whole time. And I felt like I wanted to leave this painting a little bit more of that feel. No makeup, is what I named it. I think that's the name of it. Something to do with makeup, because I didn't quite go in and tighten it up and edit it quite as much as I normally do, and wanted it to just stay a little more raw, a little more natural.
Yeah, it
It,
definitely comes out more raw. And there is definitely a beauty to say about that.
right.
Just the unfinished, like I see, on the edges and stuff. I love that. I
Yeah.
really
I was
appreciate
in the
that
middle of
so
no
much.
makeup and liking this no makeup look and enjoyed it.
I
So
know, right?
this was my no makeup, not knowing how we were ever gonna, and being okay with not getting back to high heels or any of that stuff.
But it's interesting that you say that, because it's what I'm looking at is repetitions of, community of little things that you're stroking. And so, the repetition of no makeup, the repetition of wearing leggings. And I feel like, your strokes look repetitive in some areas, and the roughness of
Yes,
it and the raw of it describes the
yes,
the time so well.
good.
I really enjoyed
I'll
this a
go in
lot.
and show
Thank you
you
for
a little
showing us
bit.
that.
It's again, the underneath is a little bit more of a wash. It's just a little bit less tightened and finished and fixed, but I did grow attached to it and liked its.
Oh, I can see why. I can see why. Have you done more like
I
that, or
have
did
done
you go
more
back
of them
to?
at the time. I don't have them here, but I did do a few, and I just liked
Mm.
the feel of that. But then
So
I
are
am
you now
wearing
wearing
makeup
makeup?
now. I really, I, I,
No, I'm saying, in your
I
paintings, are
am
you
wearing
now wearing
makeup
makeup
again. I
again?
struggled to not have my lip gloss though. I missed lip gloss the whole time, and with the masks, you couldn't wear lip gloss. And I didn't miss the makeup, but I missed my lip gloss, something on my lips. And so I'm really happy to be back with the lip gloss.
I love it.
Okay.
Okay, let's keep going now, because we have a few minutes before you're gonna
This is
give
a
us a little
piece that's
surprise.
finished,
So,
and then down below I have a stack of paintings there that are unfinished, that are, further along, but not finished. So again, it's a stack. I can show you here. This is a painting in my dining room. It's big. This is a while back,
ooh,
but since we're in my dining room, it's already here, so I thought I'd show it to you. But it's not a more recent painting, but anyhow,
I love that. That feels like
yeah,
Kandinsky
I
a little
liked it.
bit,
Now
you
these
know?
are more recent, and again, richer colors. This one was in my show that was in this past October. Well, the two that I showed you before were also in the show in October. And I felt like I was painting much richer colors. I didn't realize it, but during the pandemic, I kind of didn't want any large paintings. It felt out of control for me, like this one I just showed you that's in the dining room's large. I kind of wanted anything
Yeah,
that was a
yeah.
huggable size, and so it was 30 by 40s and 36 by 36. I needed something I could kind of control and hug. I don't know. I needed it in my arm type size. And
So these are all acrylic, and they
yes,
have some
yes,
mark makings with
right.
whatever you can find. And Yeah, I hear you on cradling
Uh-huh.
your stuff and being able to have that and have that control. I understand that feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
We were out of
Well, what was
control.
funny
So
was
having
once
that
they all
at
hung
least,
in the gallery for the show, the colors were so strong and powerful. They, I was like, well, they're smaller, but they were just as strong as if they had been enormously large. And I didn't really realize that until they all got hung, that the strength of their colors were so vibrant that they were bold and large in their own small way, you know. So that was a surprise to me.
yeah, 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 yeah. No, because I mean, you have a
It was a
lot of
lot of
color,
color.
and you know, but it works. I mean, sometimes it doesn't work, but in this case, it just, there's some
Hmm.
comfort feeling
So
here.
yes, this one has again drawing
I love that.
underneath and throughout.
I love that
Yeah.
little bit of an aqua there that you added there. Yeah, very, very cool. It almost
Hmm.
looks like a house, like a farm.
Okay.
Love it.
I do
Do you
have
have
one
something
next
next
to it.
to
Now
it, or
this
we're
is
good to?
not quite finished, but it's much closer. This is the part that I'm probably past the flirt. And I'm going tiptoeing much slower on this one. This was for a commission. I had two pieces going and she picked the other one. But this one's very close to me to being finished. So I am tiptoeing and
Right.
living with it to make those smaller, less bold moves on this now.
Hmm. What kind of, Bonnie's asking, what kind of brushes
I
do you use?
have right here, in fact, when you had talked about favorite things, I love the Robert Simmons. It's titanium. Um, I do.
Do you have any there?
I have one I use, but you can't read the writing on it because it's been so used. So I got out a new one. So in case you did ask me, you could see. It's a bright Robert Simmons titanium, this silver. This is a 10. I like the 12, 14, 10 in the bright.
Yeah. Do you use any round brushes
I
at
do
all, or
use
yeah, you like
round
the flat?
brushes. Funny story, way back when I went to go to a workshop, I was like, okay, I'm going to, bring less brushes, less supplies. This is ridiculous. I don't need all this. That's too much to carry. You're out of control. So I started picking my brushes and I had to go with a minimum of 15 brushes, which was not, I couldn't give up
I
anything. I
know.
couldn't go with less than 15, okay?
I
And
hear you.
that's
I
my
hear you.
minimum. I
Yep.
use a lot of
Yep.
brushes. I use round, flat, and I use all different sizes. So for me to go anywhere, 15 was my
So,
minimum.
all right, let's flip the
Okay.
camera and have you go back and sit down so we can. So Zona has been really incredible. She's going to do a small demo on how she starts her paintings and her inspiration. So you
Okay,
got
let's
just flip the
see.
camera around
Okay.
again, and
Okay.
we'll be ready to go.
Whoop. There we go.
Whoops,
Okay.
there we go.
So
Yeah.
am I in the right? Oh,
Yes. So are your brushes like 2 inches, 4 inches, eight
um,
inches, that kind of thing?
I just know it's a number 10. They're like 1 inches, 3/4 inch. But I
Got
have
it.
wider.
Someone is asking,
Yeah,
Bonnie's asking, so I
I
just
get
wanted to
the
confirm with
12,
you.
the 10
Perfect.
and 12 are my favorite in that brush. Bright 10, 12. If I had to pick a minimum, those would be the two I would gravitate toward. So,
Okay.
okay.
So
I
we're
am
ready.
going to do a blind contour, which is a drawing of line work that you create without constantly looking at the object that you're painting. So you can concentrate on the item and not on the drawing. So you're not going to be looking at the paper. So I'm going to take this.
What paper do you use?
Exactly, whatever
You have?
paper I have. I have some line drawings here that actually, contour drawings that are here that are actually these little baby shoes that I found in the attic because of this move, that I kept and drew a bunch
Oh
of
my
these
gosh.
little shoes with different drawing materials. Anyhow, I don't know if you can see it, but anyhow,
Wow.
I try to contour draw several different things. I gravitate toward um, dried up foliage, believe it or not, is what I gravitate toward. But I contour draw from magazines. Um,
You have to move your
to the edge.
paper all the way to
Okay.
the edge of the table so we
Okay.
can see it.
How's that?
Yeah, perfect. Yep, much
Okay,
better.
so I'm
Better.
taking this
Perfect.
down, and what I'm gonna draw are these crepe myrtle little seed pods, and this little cute, adorable, dried up leaf that I just think has the most fabulous little curls in it. Um,
Now it makes sense. Now your whole painting is like coming
so
alive now.
I'm gonna kind of place these around. And normally you can just drop stuff out of your purse and do a contour drawing, or just randomly place things around. But I gravitate toward things that are drying up and aging, and I don't know. That's just my favorite. So I'm going to start, and again, not looking at the piece of paper, just strictly looking at the item that I'm drawing, and paying attention to the details and trying to move slowly throughout the drawing. Again, something may catch my attention here, but if something else catches my attention here, I won't lift my pencil and I'll go straight over to it. I don't have to stay in that form. I can say, oh, I'm here, and oh, look at this curl over here. Oh, look at this line over here. So I can move around without lifting my pencil. Now, in the end, if I have everything in one clump, I may go back in again and add to it. But I just
Zona, can you tilt a little bit the
down,
phone down so we can see
yes,
the paper a little bit
yes.
better? Just a little. Let's see.
How's that? Is that better?
I think that will be better.
That's it?
Yeah, better. Perfect. Yeah, that's great. That's
Okay.
perfect. Yep, that's it.
I am
So you're
using my
using
favorite
pencil?
pencil. It is a Stadler 8B. Stadler 8B.
Okay.
It does smear a little bit, but not that much, and yet makes a nice dark line.
Here we go.
And I try to go slow, which sometimes I go too fast, but just so I can pay attention to the details and just move around it like it's a little ant from spot to spot.
And the idea is not to lift the pencil, but to really just go from point A
Correct.
to point B with freedom and and expanding
Yes, and
however
I can
you want.
enlarge it with my arm on a big, large canvas when I want, and it also creates its own abstract drawing by crisscrossing over.
So once you have that contour drawing, Do you also use that when you are starting on a new canvas? Do you do contour drawing
I
and then you go in
positively
with
do.
color?
Yes.
Hmm. Now I understand. And this feels very satisfying to me and almost very therapeutic. Does that have
Positively.
that effect on you?
It's very therapeutic. Maybe not talking right now with it, but in general, yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, no.
I'm
I mean,
sorry
that's
to be
okay. I'm
interrupting
just
you,
saying,
yeah,
right,
normally in your normal practice. Yes, yes. Um, but it just, I mean, this is a great opportunity for new um, students to start, just moving their hand
exactly.
all over.
So I can
Okay.
continue or not. So again, it gives me
Wow.
shapes that I wouldn't normally come up with. I get tired of my own shapes if I don't use some contour drawing. I begin to bore myself. And so if I start it this way, it's things that I love, that I'm interested in. Again, you can tell that this is organic. You can't really tell exactly what it is, but you at least know it's not a building. So you are getting the feel of what I
Yeah,
drew from, but not an exactness. And um,
100%. 100%. Who inspires you,
I have
Zona?
several books here to show you. Henry
Yay,
Caselli,
I'm
and
excited.
I'm not knowing if I'm pronouncing any of the names correctly, but anyhow, he was the first one that really inspired me to paint. He was at the New Orleans Museum of Art, his show, and this book was from that, and his colors and um, the it was figurative watercolor in it, but the colors were so rich and dramatic. All his mixtures, his compositions, they had me. I mean, that was it. I really needed to get into painting when I had been to this show. And so I started watercolor.
Wow,
Um, it was
I
beautiful. It's a
love that.
beautiful book, and his work was just very dramatic yet soft. The colors were so rich. My second is Dennis Campe. Um, I saw
Oh, I don't think
his
I know him.
show at in Covington on again out on the opposite side of on the North Shore, and his work was very architectural, but he had a lot of drawing into the wet paint, and on top there was a lot of drawing, graphite into the paintings, and again that grabbed me, and I was
Amazing.
hooked then to experiment with drawing into the painting, which has stayed with me. So he was the second. And then I would say the next big influence has been Nicholas de Stael. And he has very thick palette painted compositions. And whether it's a landscape or a floral or children playing soccer, he has simplified things so simplistically. It's just amazing because I can only imagine that if he's looking at a floral arrangement, it's not that simple, but yet he simplifies it so beautifully. And then the thick paint just got me. I just loved and wanted to try.
So this is what we're gonna do, Zona. You're gonna take pictures of them. You're gonna send them to
Okay.
me, and I'm gonna put them on my story so people know all of them. And I'm going to
One
turn
more,
on
one
the.
more.
Oh, you have one more? No.
Of course, Richard
Okay. Okay.
Karn. I mean, got it.
Of
He has
course. Yeah.
been a strong, player in this too. So those are my four.
So I'm going to turn back on comments. So if you guys have questions for Zona, this is the right time to ask Zona anything. And Zona, I'm going to ask you now to turn back up a little bit the phone so we can see
Okay.
your face a little bit better.
Okay.
There, perfect. Okay, great. Zona, where can we find your work?
Okay.
Where can we
At
look for you?
zonawainwright.com, at also the Degas Gallery, uh, and at the New
Okay.
Orleans Academy of Fine Art.
So someone is asking, what is your next step after the drawing contour? Like, what do
Okay,
you do
I
immediately after that?
collect these drawings and I enlarge it onto a canvas. And then, of course, it's going to change completely when I redraw it. I don't scale it out or anything. I loosely redraw this onto a larger canvas. And then I put the drawing away. I don't stick to that drawing. I'm not married to that by any means. So again, then I may draw it in with soft pastels and put a medium over it to set the soft pastel, or charcoal or woody and graphite. I'll draw it with several different tools and smear that around. We have a saying that a friend of mine also said, Shelley Sessions, fear not the smear. So I put smearable things on the canvas to begin with that I'm drawing with, and then put the liquid medium on top of that and let things smear. So some of the line stays, it kind of turns into a wash, and I start with that.
So I believe we have someone that wants to purchase the painting. Her name is Cindy
Yes, I do. I
Alfie. Do you
do.
know her? She said she would
I
buy the
love you,
painting. So
Cindy.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. We just made
So,
$350 for Feeding America, and I'm just thrilled beyond. We'll get the details to you, Cindy. I'll tell
yes,
you, Zona, how to figure it out. But thank you so
thank
much. We
you.
couldn't do it. Again, I always say we couldn't do it without our collectors as well as our army of artists. And you are now a part of this army of
Thank you
artists. So
so
thank
much.
you, Zona. And Brenda wants to ask you, what's your favorite
Ooh,
color?
I'm liking right now a salmony, peachy color between a pink and between an orange.
Okay. Okay.
Is it?
that's the color for the summer.
Uh-huh.
I've seen it everywhere. It's like pink and
Yeah,
orange and yellows and just bright. I think we are just so,
yeah,
we
yeah,
need color in our lives, and I think the
yeah.
brightness of it and the
It's not a
summer and the
soft one either.
exciting
It's a
and,
little darker
just
than the
all of
salmon
it.
color, but darker, richer, but between the orange and the pink. Yes.
Yes. And I mean, you have gotten all this incredible love coming your way. All your
I
friends are here. My friends, my NOLA friends,
these
you know how much
these
I
NOLA
adore each
gals,
and
I
every
love
one
them
of you.
all
And
positively.
yes, yes. And I can't, someone is
I
asking if you
do.
like
I do.
coral.
Yes, like
Like
coral.
coral? Yeah,
That's
I
right.
like
Would
coral.
be definitely like a coral. You're right. Thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah. And yes, well, I can't thank you enough. You've given us so much food for thought, and just you guys are just amazing. And Zona,
Thank
I'm
you,
so happy you
Sandra.
came into
Thank you.
my
I
world.
appreciate you walking me
And
through the technical process of this and then talking me through all this. I appreciate it, and all that you're doing for Feed America. My goodness, this is fantastic. And having exposed all these artists to so many people. I mean, I watched this through the whole pandemic myself, and it was wonderful to watch and to have this, and now just to continue it. Thank you.
well, thank you. And like I said, I always say it's not me, but it's we. And I couldn't do it without all of you. So thank you so much. We just made, 350 more for Feeding America, 3,500 meals for people in need. I mean,
Thank you.
win-win all around. So Thank you again, Zona, and we'll see you soon.
Okay,
Please send me the pictures of the book, and thank you all
thank you.
for staying here and watching.
Bye.
Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Have a great Memorial weekend.